The wind howled across the empty plains of the outer colony known as Elder's Reach. Sandstorms had carved deep scars into the metal ruins that dotted the land. Most people didn't wander far from the safety of the settlement walls. But Noah wasn't most people. He was an engineer, a quiet man who preferred machines over arguments and dusty silence over crowded rooms. He had come to Elder's Reach to help rebuild the broken structures left behind after the planet's brief war. Every day, he explored what others avoided. That morning, the sky had been clear, but the ground shook slightly. Noah followed the tremors toward the western ridge, where he spotted something unusual: metal, bent and scorched, half buried in the rocky earth. It looked like a pod. Noah approached, with caution. The markings on the metal were not human, they were alien. Curved lines glowing faintly under the dust suggested it was Varelian, a proud and secretive species that barely spoke to humans unless necessary. His heart beat faster, not from fear but from curiosity. The escape hatch was cracked open. Carefully, Noah pried it wider and looked inside. Lying in the dark, curled up like a wounded bird, was a young alien woman. Her skin was smooth and pale, with hints of bluish shimmer. Strange, delicate tattoos ran down her neck and arms. Her clothes were torn and her breathing was shallow. She looked hurt, maybe worse. She had no weapons, no gear, nothing but herself. Noah whispered, "Hello? Can you hear me?" Her eyes flickered open. Bright, silver-like irises stared at him. There was pain, fear, and something else. Confusion. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Instead, her body tensed and then relaxed again. She was too weak. Noah didn't wait. He grabbed his old hover sled from the rover, gently lifted her out of the pod and placed her on the sled. She didn't resist. He could feel how cold her skin was. "Hang in there," he said quietly. Back in his small workshop on the edge of the colony, Noah laid her on a padded table and connected a basic med scanner. It wasn't designed for alien biology, but it was enough to tell him she had bruised ribs, a fractured ankle, and signs of dehydration. Thankfully, no internal bleeding. He gave her water through a dropper. Her lips moved slightly, accepting the help. Hours passed. She finally opened her eyes again. This time she looked at him not with fear, but with alertness. She tried to sit up but winced. "Easy," Noah said, holding up his hands. "You're safe here." She tilted her head, then whispered something in a language he didn't know. "I don't understand," Noah replied gently. "But I won't hurt you. You were in a crash. I found you." She studied him. Her gaze wasn't trusting yet, but it was no longer afraid. Noah brought over a translation tablet. She stared at it, hesitated, then pressed a few keys. The voice that came out was robotic but clear. "Why, help me?" Noah blinked. "It was a fair question. Because you needed help," he said. "That's all." She looked away as if the answer stung. She typed again. "My people cast me out." Noah sat down beside the table. "I don't care what they did. You're not my enemy." Her eyes shimmered again, not with anger but something close to sadness. She typed one more sentence. "Do not tell others I'm here." "I won't," Noah promised. "But I need a name to call you." She hesitated for a long moment. Then, quietly, she typed, "Sirah." Over the next few days, Sirah slowly recovered. She barely spoke, even through the translator, but Noah didn't push her. He worked during the day, fixing broken solar panels, repairing old farming drones, and returned at night to check on her. Sirah watched him, always quietly. She never asked questions, but once she pointed at a broken wall panel and mimed how to fix it. Noah was surprised. Her knowledge of human systems was impressive. "You know tech?" he asked. She nodded, then added on the tablet, "Varelian engineers are not allowed to fix things, only design. I fix things in secret, against the rules." He smiled. "Then I guess we both enjoy breaking rules." For the first time, she gave a small, unsure smile. The night before the storm, Noah looked out across the barren land and sighed. The wind was picking up. A scanner alert warned of tremors nearby. If they got worse, the colony might go into lockdown. Sira stood beside him now, steady on her feet. She had wrapped herself in an old human coat and cut her hair shorter. She looked different, less like an outcast and more like a survivor. "You should hide in the safe room tomorrow," he said. "The storm might be bad." She typed, "I will help reinforce the roof." He paused, touched by her offer. "You don't have to." "I want to," she replied. "This place feels like something I never had." He looked at her, truly looked. This woman thrown away by her own kind was standing here on a human world, helping build a place that wasn't hers. And yet, maybe it was becoming hers. Noah nodded slowly. "Then let's make it stronger. Together." As the wind howled in, the distance, two strangers from different worlds began to build something neither had ever known. A home. The wind outside had calmed, but inside the small workshop something new was growing. Trust. Noah sat at his workbench, adjusting a broken drone rotor. Across the room, Sira quietly cleaned the metal table where she had once rested, as if trying to remove the last memory of weakness from it. Her movements were careful and precise. She had healed faster than he expected. Her bruises had faded, and her fractured ankle was wrapped and strong enough for slow walking. Though she still typed on the translation tablet instead of speaking, her eyes no longer held fear. Noah glanced at her. "You don't have to clean that, you know." Sira paused, then replied on the tablet. "It helps me think." He smiled. "Fair enough." A moment passed. Then she added, "Why do you live alone?" That question surprised him. He leaned back and looked at the walls, covered with tools and sketches of machines. "I guess I like quiet. I worked in the cities before. Too crowded, too noisy. Here, I can build things in peace." Sira studied him for a while. Then after a long silence, she typed something he hadn't expected. "I was not born important. I earned it." Noah raised an eyebrow. "Earned what?" "My place in the sky halls, among the Virelian scientists." He set the rotor aside, now completely focused. This was the most she had ever shared. "But they turned on me," she continued, "when I refused to hurt a lesser species during a trial." "What kind of trial?" Noah asked softly. Sira's fingers hesitated on the tablet. Then, "A test of loyalty. We were ordered to disable a group of primitive beings. To show strength. I couldn't do it." Noah frowned. "So they punished you for showing mercy?" Sira nodded. Her silver eyes dimmed as if remembering the moment. "They called me weak. Said I was no longer Virelian. They took my symbols, my voice. Then they put me in the pod and launched me away." The room felt heavy with silence. Noah didn't know what to say at first. His heart ached for her. She hadn't just been exiled. She'd been erased from her own people's memory. "No one deserves that," he finally said. She tilted her head. "Why do humans think like that?" Noah chuckled, dryly. "Not all humans do, but some of us, we believe in second chances, in kindness. Maybe it's weakness or maybe it's strength." Sira didn't reply, but her expression softened. The next day, Noah took her to an old structure outside the colony, just metal frames and a broken roof, forgotten by everyone else. But to him, it had potential. And now, he had a reason to rebuild it. "This could be your place," he said, "if you want it." Sira looked around. The space was small, dusty but strong at the foundation. She walked slowly, brushing her fingers across the beams. "You would give this to me?" she asked through the tablet. "Not give," he said. "Build together." Something flashed in her eyes, a small spark, maybe even hope. They began cleaning the space together. Noah taught her how to handle tools safely. She showed him how to reinforce metal using a chemical formula from her world. Together, they worked in sync. No words were needed, just action and purpose. As they took a break under the rising sun, Sira typed, This is the first thing I've built with someone. Noah smiled. Then it's already special. Over the next week, the structure began to change. Walls were patched. A roof was placed. Power lines from Noah's workshop were extended underground to provide light. Every evening, they shared simple meals, bread, dried fruits, and sometimes something warm from a solar cooker. Sira's skin no longer looked pale. Her body had gained strength. She moved like someone with purpose. And one night, while adjusting a beam, she looked over her shoulder and whispered her first human word, home. Noah froze for a second, then gave her a nod. Yes, it's your home now, but things weren't completely safe. One evening, while Noah checked the power circuits, a red light on his console blinked. A scanner alert. A ship had passed over the canyon. Fast. Not human. He showed it to Sira. Her face turned cold. Virelian patrol, she typed. They search for escaped exiles if they find me. They won't, Noah said firmly. I'll bury the scanner signal, hide the power signature. But your people might report me, she added. Noah looked her in the eyes. Not if they don't know. He stepped outside, staring at the dark sky. The stars twinkled above, but one seemed to move, too fast and too bright. The ship had already gone. But it could return. He made a decision that night. I'm going to finish the place faster, make it stormproof, add a signal blocker. He paused, then added, You deserve safety, Sira. You've earned it. She didn't speak, but she reached out and gently placed a hand on his arm. It was the first time she had touched him. That night, while Noah slept on the workshop cot and Sira watched the stars from the doorway, she typed one last line into her tablet, but didn't show it to anyone. This. Human is not weak, he's the strongest one I've ever known. The air turned heavy in Elder's Reach. The sky was no longer clear blue. It carried a strange yellow shade that warned of something dangerous. Even the winds had changed direction, whispering of an incoming storm. Noah stood at the edge of the outpost, hands on his hips, scanning the horizon. His tools rested nearby, half-finished repairs forgotten for now. Beside him, Sira adjusted a small device she had built from parts of her broken pod. It clicked and buzzed every few seconds. RD. You sure it'll work? Noah asked, pointing at the small dish she was tuning. Sira nodded and typed into her tablet. It's a cloaking pulse. It will make our power signals look like background noise. Smart, he said, smiling. You're getting better with human parts. Human tools are simple. That is their strength, she typed back with a hint of pride. The outpost had come a long way in just a few weeks. It now had walls strong enough to hold back heavy winds, a working solar roof, and even a small water collector. It wasn't perfect, but it was safe. It was starting to feel alive, but danger was circling from both above and below. Later that night, as they finished reinforcing one of the corner beams, the ground trembled beneath them, just for a second, like the planet had taken a deep breath. Then silence returned. Sira glanced at Noah, eyes sharp. That's the third tremor this week, Noah said. Too close. The ground is not stable anymore, she warned through the tablet. You should move your tools and supplies to higher ground, he nodded. I'll do it tomorrow. But Sira shook her head. Tonight? Her tone was clear, even through a screen. They worked together in the dark. Noah lit small lamps using backup batteries. Sira used her scanner to find weak spots in the ground. By midnight, they had moved most of the equipment into a temporary shed farther up the hill. Just as they were locking up the last box, a loud rumble echoed through the valley. Then came the explosion. A section of the canyon's edge cracked and fell, sending dust and rocks into the air. The ground near their outpost shook hard. Noah grabbed Sira's arm and pulled her back as a support beam snapped and crashed onto the dirt. They both stood in silence, watching their shelter, their home, get damaged again. It's not over, Noah said, breathing heavily. We must rebuild quickly. And reinforce deeper, Sira added, determined. Noah looked at her, then nodded. We will. As morning light broke through the clouds, Sira climbed a nearby ridge to scan the area for more tremors. Her device picked up another signal, one that froze her in place. It wasn't from the ground, it was from the sky. She rushed down to Noah, her face tense. On her tablet, she typed, "A Varelian scout ship is approaching. They passed twice already. They know I'm here." Noah cursed under his breath. How long do we have? Maybe hours. Maybe less. Noah didn't panic. Instead, he moved quickly. "We need to activate the cloaker and reinforce the outpost's shields. You take the west wall. I'll handle the signal jammer." Sira looked at him. "You're not afraid?" He smiled. "I've got too much to lose now." For the next few hours, the two of them worked with speed and focus. Sira added her alien shielding techniques to the outpost walls, simple energy barriers that could absorb low-level scans. Noah dug into the wiring of his old rover to boost the cloaking signal. Above them, the Varelian ship passed by slowly. A faint hum vibrated in the sky. They both held their breath, then it moved on. Sira checked her scanner and typed, "They didn't detect us, but they'll come back." "We'll be ready," Noah replied. Later that evening, the two sat outside the outpost. The sky had calmed, but the stars seemed more distant than usual. Sira stared at the horizon. After a moment, she typed, "If they find me, they will not talk. They will take me." Noah was quiet. Then he said softly, "They'll have to go through me first." Sira's eyes widened slightly. "Why would you do that? Risk your life for someone not even human?" He looked at her, firm and steady. "Because you're not just anyone. You're my friend. You helped me build something real, and I won't let them take it from either of us." She blinked slowly, the silver in her eyes reflecting the lamplight. Then she typed, "Then I will fight too. Not run. Not hide." Noah reached over and handed her a small portable shield device he had modified. "Good. You might need this." She took it without hesitation. Together they sat in the dark, two beings from different worlds, ready to defend the home they had built side by side. The morning came with silence. Not peaceful silence, but a heavy, waiting kind. Noah stood on the roof of the half-built outpost, tightening a metal panel. The solar shields were active, and the power lines were humming low. Inside, Sira checked the cloaking device, adjusting the settings to match the latest Varelian scan pattern. They both knew today could be different. "Power steady?" Noah called out. Sira's voice was clear this time, not using the tablet. "Yes." That one word made him glance over. She had spoken, soft, sure, and human-like. It was the first time he had heard her voice clearly. It held strength. He smiled. "Good." By mid-morning, the scanner beeped. They were back. The Varelian scout ship cut through the clouds, silent and silver. It hovered above the canyon like a predator searching for prey. This time it didn't move on. Sira's fingers danced over her scanner. They are scanning harder. They suspect something. Noah took a deep breath and opened a hidden panel on the wall. Inside were several tools, modified drones, a flash jammer, and a high-powered stun field he had built from scrap. He handed Sira a control device. "We may need these." Sira accepted it and nodded. "I'm ready." The Varelian ship lowered slightly, its underbelly now visible. A door opened. From it dropped three small figures, tall, armored, and armed. Scouts. "They're coming on foot," Noah said. Sira watched them through the window. Her face stayed calm. "They won't expect resistance." Noah locked the outpost's front shield. "Then let's surprise them." The three Varelian scouts moved quickly, scanning with handheld devices, speaking in their own sharp language. They reached the outpost door and paused. One of them raised a hand, preparing to break in. That was when Noah hit the first switch. Boom. A blinding flash burst from a nearby drone, stunning the scouts momentarily. The second switch released a smokescreen, harmless, but confusing. Sira opened the side panel and launched a mini-drone she had repaired. It circled above the scouts, sending fake signals and scattering their readings. They're confused, she said, watching the data. Now's our chance. Noah stepped outside with a small pulse blaster in hand. Not lethal, but strong enough to knock a scout down. He aimed at the lead Varelian's armor and fired. Zap. The scout fell back, twitching. The other two turned toward the sound. One rushed Noah, fast and angry, but Sira moved quicker. She stepped out, activated the shield. Noah had given her and blocked the strike. The force threw her backward, but she landed safely and rolled behind cover. The third scout lifted a weapon, but Sira used her control panel to trigger an overload in their scanner. Sparks flew from the alien's wrist. Nice work. Noah shouted. The scouts, now scattered and off balance, tried to regroup, but Noah and Sira stayed calm, working together. He disabled the last scout with a low blast while Sira hacked into their comm link to send a false signal back to the ship. Within minutes, it was over. 3 stunned scouts lay unconscious. The outpost still stood. Sira and Noah dragged the bodies into a safe zone and locked them inside a supply shed. They would wake in hours, confused and defeated. Noah looked at Sira. Think their ship will leave? Sira checked the sky. If they believe it was a false reading, yes. But next time, it could be worse. He wiped sweat from his forehead. Then we make this place stronger. She nodded. Stronger and smarter. By sunset, they had repaired the damage. The outpost now had reinforced barriers and warning alarms. Noah added motion sensors around the ridge. Sira fine-tuned the shield tech so it would bounce back scans instead of absorbing them. As they sat down near the small fire pit they had built together, the air finally felt still. You were brave today, Noah said. Sira looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the flames. So were you. You didn't run. She shook her head. This is my home now. I won't let them take it. He smiled. Then we protect it. Together. A few stars appeared in the sky. The wind had softened. Even the land, cracked and scarred, seemed more peaceful now. Sira reached out and touched the side of the outpost. Well, she traced a mark with her finger, a symbol from her language. Then she added a second line beneath it, one she had never drawn before. Noah watched. What does that mean? Sira looked at him and said softly, It means earned by unity. He stared at the symbol, then nodded. That's perfect. As the night settled in, Noah realized something had changed. This outpost wasn't just a shelter. It wasn't just a building made of steel and wires, it was a promise. Sira hadn't just found safety here. She had found someone who saw her not as an alien, not as an exile, but as a person. Together they had turned a forgotten ruin into something powerful, a place worth defending. The wind carried warmth the next morning. For once the sky was wide and blue without any sign of storms or ships. A rare peace had fallen across the valley. The outpost, though simple and hidden, stood strong and quiet like a sleeping guardian. Inside, Noah tightened the last bolt on a new door lock. He had added layers of protection since the attack. Energy coils lined the roof, motion sensors watched the path, and the cloaking signal hummed smoothly. He looked over his shoulder at Sira, who was sitting cross-legged on the floor with pieces of metal, wiring and old memory drives spread before her. She was building something again, this time not for defense but for expression. What are you working on? Noah asked, walking over. She didn't use her tablet. Her voice was soft but clear now. A memory core. I want to save this place. Its sounds, its shapes, its meaning. Noah smiled. That sounds like something worth remembering. Later, while checking the perimeter, Noah found something surprising. Footprints, not one set, but several. Smaller, lighter. He bent down and touched the ground. They're not Varelian, he said when he returned to the outpost. But they're not human either. Sira checked her scanner. A moment later, her eyes widened slightly. These signals, they are exiles, like me. Noah looked up. Others? She nodded slowly. Maybe they followed the false signal I sent. to confuse the Varelian ship. Or maybe they were searching for shelter. Without wasting time, they climbed to a nearby ridge and waited. Soon, shapes appeared in the distance. 2 adults, 1 youngling. They moved carefully, afraid, but not aggressive. Noah raised a hand in peace. They look like they've been walking a long time. Sira stepped forward, her old cloak around her shoulders, and spoke in her native tongue, calm, welcoming, without pride. The others paused, listened, then slowly walked closer. When they reached the outpost, their eyes scanned the walls, the tools, the careful design. Sira gestured toward the inside. This place, she told them gently, was built with human hands and open hearts. It is not Varelian and it is not human. It is something new. The adult exile, an older male with cracked tattoos on his face, stared in disbelief. They built this for you? Sira nodded. We built it. Together. The small group stayed for a night. Then another. Soon 2 more exiles arrived, each with different markings and painful stories. They were all different, but one thing connected them. They had been thrown away by their people for refusing to follow cruelty. Noah didn't expect it, but Sira made the choice. She called them to a gathering near the fire pit. And there, under the open sky, she spoke, not through a translator, not through writing, but with her real voice. This place has no throne, no commander, no test of blood or power. If you stay here, you will build, not destroy. You will protect, not punish. That is our way. They agreed, not because of rules, but because they saw what Sira had found, a reason to begin again. In the following weeks, the outpost changed. It grew. What started as a shelter became a small village. Solar panels lined the hill. Water systems were added. Drones patrolled the sky, not to hunt, but to protect. Every new person who arrived brought something useful: skills, ideas, strength, and even stories. Sira stood at the center of it all, not as a leader, but as a symbol. The one who had been cast out and had survived. The one who had found someone willing to care. The one who helped turn nothing into something beautiful. One day, a human officer from the colony visited. His name was Marcus. He came to ask questions after detecting the growth of power signals in the area. "This is unauthorized," he said. "Who is in charge here?" Noah stepped forward. "No one is in charge. We just live here. Work together." Marcus looked around at the alien structures, the mixed culture, and the peaceful faces. "This isn't just a hideout. It's becoming a new kind of place." Sira approached and looked the officer in the eyes. "This is home." He didn't argue. Instead, he nodded. "If no one's causing harm, I'll file it as a private project. Just keep it quiet." Noah grinned. "We're good at that." That evening, as the stars returned, Sira and Noah sat outside once more. Around them, soft lights glowed from small buildings. Laughter, real laughter, echoed faintly in the distance. Sira held the small memory device she had been working on. She handed it to Noah. He turned it over. "What's this?" She spoke gently. "A gift. It contains everything we've done. The first door, the first drone, the first meal we shared, and..." She hesitated. "The first time someone looked at me and didn't see a mistake." Noah said nothing for a moment. Then he smiled and reached for a piece of wood. With a small tool, he carved into it slowly. When he finished, he placed the board at the entrance of the outpost. Sira walked over and read it. "Welcome." Her eyes softened. "I never had a name like that," she whispered. Noah looked at her. "Now you do."